What's up?
What's going on? What's going on?
How you
How are you?
doing?
Not too bad, just hustling, perfect opportunity.
I love it. I love it. I love the hustle. That looks like a nice car you got there.
Thank you, thank you.
So where are
Couldn't be
you coming
faster.
from right now? Where are you at?
I'm in LA right now. I'm in LA.
Ooh, sunny
And
LA. How?
I'm sitting in the Tesla right now because this quarantine is honestly getting tiring of sitting at home. So I'm usually just driving around in the car and doing work in the in the car.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the live,
Yeah, of course. Of
and being
course.
able to share your journey. So, everyone, if you haven't already heard about this, this is Be Great, Good to Great. We're talking about people's careers, their journeys, how they got to where they're at, and sharing knowledge. It's a very interactive session. So, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments or in the Q&A box, and then we'll get to all of them. So, Jan, I want you to give people a little bit about yourself, and your background, just a little bit about your story and where you are today.
Yeah, sounds good. Maybe everybody that's on the live, you guys can drop where you're joining the call from right now. Whether you guys are in Cali, you guys in LA, you guys somewhere in a different country, just so both of us have a good idea of how to tailor the call. Right in the comments. I'm sipping on these energy drinks all day because I'm doing the inner circle opening right now. So
Oh
I'm,
man.
I'm sleeping like 2 hours a day, hopping on support, bringing people on.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
awesome, awesome, awesome. NYC, we got Chicago, New York. Awesome.
Canada.
Awesome. So appreciate you having me on here. Little background on me. Just quickly, I'm 25 right now. I started 3 years ago with 82,000 bucks worth of credit card debt. I had 2 degrees, one in finance, one in marketing, from Berkeley, which appears to be an amazing school, an amazing opportunity to go and get a degree, go get a job, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the case. Um, right now, I'm 25, run a seven-figure business. I don't work for anybody. Got my own thing going on. 2019, before this quarantine, took 140 flights. Uh, still pulling in some months six figures while being in Thailand or being in Brazil or wherever the hell it was. I was. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
remember. But 22 years old, 3 years ago, I was in 82,000 bucks worth of credit card debt, and the situation was definitely not as good as it is right now. I wanted to become an entrepreneur, never wanted to work for anybody else, and I came out of school at 22 with 2 degrees, assuming that I was gonna go and do my own thing. If something doesn't work out, I'll just go easily go get a job working for any company.
Mm-hmm.
So I started at 18 years old with something called travel hacking. Somebody told me, one of my mentors, they're like, if you want to open up your mind, you want to have some new experiences, you want to just get the best start to your life, go travel, go travel. And I had 3,000 bucks to my name, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to Thailand. First trip I ever did by myself. I had a little bit of money. I went to Thailand. That was an amazing time. Met some amazing people. I was like, damn, flying across the world, dude, this is honestly freedom. I met some people that were making money over there too without, going to work in San Francisco every single day, 8 in the morning. And I'm like, damn, this is amazing. And I came back, my mind was working completely different. And from there, I was like, damn, I got to keep traveling. I don't have any money though. But 2 months later, I got an offer from American Express for 100,000 points, and I met the bonuses. I did everything without hacking anything, so to speak. I
Mm-hmm.
bought my friend like a MacBook that they wanted to buy, and I'm like, just pay me back. So I got the points, and I did the same exact trip again 2 months later, except now the flight was free, now the hotel was free. The only thing I paid for was street food in Thailand, which, as most of you guys know, is like 10 bucks a day max. You
Yep.
know, So then I started doing this. I started traveling 18, 19, 20. The entire time I was in college, I was traveling every single week, probably.
Wow.
And I was not going to my classes. I was making deals with the professors for me to come in, do orientation, and then come back and do the final and just pass the class. So I got like C's and B's and whatever. Um, I didn't learn anything in school at all, at all. I spent 60,000 on 2 degrees, even more, and I didn't learn anything at all. So 18 through 22, I was traveling, going to school, and during this time I was travel hacking. Obviously, with points, it requires you to open up a bunch of credit cards
Hmm.
to get the points, the bonuses, the statuses, right? And so by the time I was 22, I had available $100,000 because I was travel hacking. I opened up a bunch of credit cards. I was never using it for business though. I was always using it for points and travel hacks and stuff. But when I got out of college, I'm like, all right, this is the time for me to go and become an entrepreneur. It's the time. I finished school. I got it over with. I did what my parents wanted me to do, but I definitely don't want to go work for anybody else. That is against my will, my heart. The last job I had was a lifeguard at like 16 years old at a beach, um, which was not even a job at all, really. I was doing
Right,
it full
right.
time, working out. And so I'm looking at all these people on YouTube, on Instagram, and I'm like, damn, these guys are driving Lambos, they're traveling exactly what I want to do.
Right.
And I'm like, what do they do? So they do drop shipping. I see they do Amazon, they do social media marketing agencies, all these different businesses. So my belief was that if I go and do all these at once, I can go and have something stick. If I do 5 businesses at once, I assumed that something is gonna stick.
Hmm.
And that was the biggest bullshit that I believed ever. It is the biggest bullshit. And to add to the equation, I had 100,000 in credit available to me that I had no idea how to use. I had no idea how bad the banks can screw me. I had no idea that they can start raising the APR, the percentage, from 20% to 27 just after
Hmm.
missing one payment. How is that going to help me make payments? You know. So the situation appeared to be amazing. I was traveling first class. I was telling everybody I had 5 businesses running at once, which in reality were all losing money. But I was traveling first class because I knew how to travel hack.
Hmm.
So it appears to be an amazing situation until 6 months down the line, I'm in 82,000 bucks worth of credit card debt, bringing in 3,000 bucks a month, paying the banks 4 grand in interest, leaving myself negative at the end of the month, living in San Francisco, as you know how expensive that could be.
Yep.
And that situation at 22 years old was my rock bottom. That was my rock bottom, and I had a realization that the situation I was in was very dangerous.
That sounds stressful,
It,
man.
it was, and I'm naturally a very, very positive person, and even in a negative situation like that, I was trying to keep a positive outlook. But no matter what, I couldn't see a way out. I couldn't see a way out at all, and I was like sitting in my Beamer that I bought at the time, which was a stupid decision too. I'm like, I got first class flights. I got a Beamer. I got 5 businesses. I got 100K that I can use for my businesses. I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Hmm.
I actually promised myself I'm gonna make $1 million in the house that I was living at the time, and I built myself like an office in the garage out of wood. I'm like, I'm gonna make $1 million in this house. I did not make $1 million. I got into 82,000 bucks worth of credit card debt with no way out, no job, no skill, no business, and a bunch of losers around me
And you went through all this on your own?
on my own. I mean, I had a bunch of people around me that were helping me stay in that position.
Gotcha.
You know,
And then how'd you get
yeah.
yourself out?
Um, I'll tell you right now. I mean, that rock bottom situation that week where I realized where I was. That's when the realization came on what moves I should make afterwards. But if you guys relate to that particular situation on any scale, drop some likes. If you guys relate to that particular situation, maybe you're in a similar situation right now because of coronavirus, you lost your job,
Mm.
whatever the situation is. If you relate to it, drop some likes because I know a lot of people are in tough situations right now, and I want to give some value and give you some step by step based on my story on how to get out of it, even if you lost your job, even if you're locked down, whatever it is. I want to give you some step by step plays on how to just make some big moves in the next like 3 months. So I was sitting in my car just like this, except in my Beamer that I couldn't pay for at the time. And I'm like, damn, I don't see a way out of this either. Like I'm thinking to myself, maybe I got to go back to Russia
Hmm.
because I got some family in Russia. Maybe they could support me back there. Because I got 82K of debt. I tried to go and apply for jobs at the time. I applied to 150 different places. Two people got back to me. They said, "You're not the right fit. Thanks for applying."
Wow.
Nobody else got back to me, and I'm like, I'm pulling in, working 60 hours a week, doing a bunch of hustles. Like I'm doing fitness classes, I'm doing focus groups and taste tests, and like I'm trying the lotions on and giving my reviews for $100. And these are the hustles I'm doing to stay alive at the time, and just if you guys put yourself into my shoes at the time, just think of how hard that particular situation would be on you. I mean, it was tough. Like it was
Hmm.
tough. And something clicked in my head. Luckily, it's like something clicked while I was sitting in my car, just like this. And I'm like, all right, here's the situation. You're trying to start 5 businesses, but you got no skills. You got no experience running a company. You got no experience hiring or firing or doing marketing. The only thing you're doing is trying to be like the people that are already succeeding without learning from them, without working under somebody and seeing what success in that business looks like, not just the outside appearance of the Lambos and the flights and the smiling faces and whatnot. What goes into a business that you don't see is completely different.
Hmm.
Your mind has to work differently. You cannot have people around you that are just not making moves. They are not where you want to be. They don't have the goals that you have. If you're in that situation where people around you have don't have goals in line with yours, you will not meet your goals. I guarantee it. Because everybody around me was either negative, they were going into a different direction. They certainly did not have goals to make $1 million that year. Certainly not. I definitely did. That's all I was thinking about. Waking up, how do I
Hmm.
make my first million? How do I make my first million? How do I make my first million? And everybody else was like, nah, you just gotta wait. It's not gonna happen. You gotta wait. Just go get just go work somewhere. I'm like, come on, man. I can't do that. It was hurting my head thinking about what if my situation does not change. That shit gave me a headache just thinking about it. I was
Right.
like that was very scary for me. And so it clicked in my mind. I'm like, you need a skill. You need to stop getting screwed by the banks. You need to learn how a business is run. Okay.
Hmm.
And you need to go and get yourself a skill. And how do you do that? I got myself a sales job. I got myself a sales job by actually going in person to a company's event, showing my work ethic, showing my energy. And instead of them looking at an application, they're looking at my face, they're looking at my energy, and they see that I have potential. So they gave me a shot for the sales job. It was actually for a crypto company when crypto was amazing at the time. Companies were raising money, so it was a perfect opportunity. Um, but I didn't get in it for the money. I didn't get into that job for the money. I got in it because I knew I needed a sales skill. Sales is the number one skill that anybody can have. Whether you're actually doing a sales job, or you're running a business, or you work for a computer science firm working behind a desk.
Hmm.
Sales is about being able to communicate better. It's not about selling a product or anything. It's about being able to communicate better. If you had a sales skill and you work for a company and you're trying to get a raise, I guarantee there's much better chances of you getting a raise if you have a sales skill and you understand the other person's problem, you can provide a solution, and then you can get a raise. That's just one example. So I got that sales job. Um, and 3 months in, I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't making sales, but that's simply because my sales skills were not up to par.
You're still in debt at
Nonetheless,
this point, right?
I'm in debt. Yeah, I'm like
Okay.
my debt is going higher at this point. 3 months after 82K, I just say 82K because that day when I like totaled up all my debts, it was 82K. It was actually more. I just don't know the number. I
Okay.
just know it was probably 100K, honestly. Um, until I started making money. And a lot of those debts were in collections. I had a 490 credit score. It was going lower. I had banks suing me. I had 2 or 3 companies suing me for over $40,000. I've never been sued before. I had no idea how the process works. I thought I was going to jail. I was like, I gotta flee the country at this point. You know, I was like, I was in a fight or flight mode. I was having a hard time going in it and focusing on the company, on the
Mm-hmm.
sales job. Um, More importantly, by the way, I stopped doing all these businesses. I knew I had no place in trying to do all these businesses at that time. The only thing I started focusing are 2 things: that sales job, which after 3 months, something clicked. I hit my first deal. I was doing like 60 hours a week on that sales job. I was doing more than anybody else. I was starting to get creative on how to get deals. I was going to events. I was reaching out to people. I started sending videos so they could see my face. And that's when they're like, hey, nope, like not a single person working for any exchange out of the hundreds of people that hit us up sent us a video. We want to work with you. And then I hit my first deal. I made my first 5K commission. And something clicked. Like something clicked and I started getting deals back to back to back. What's up, Kyle? And it started going from there. And in about another 3 months, I became #1 salesperson in that company, doing about 15K a week now. Not a week, I'm sorry, a month. 15K a month, which is a lot more money than I've ever made in my life at that point. And at the same time, what I'm doing is, besides doing 60 hours a week on that sales job, not talking to anybody else. Like everybody that I was talking to at that time, my friends, um, not necessarily my family. My family, brings me up, motivates me. But I just stopped talking to all the friends that I had at the time, which were just going nowhere. They were going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that really helped a lot because my clients were founders, CEOs, people like really making big moves. And my mindset, like my brain just started working differently. And I started realizing like opportunities are coming to me. I'm thinking big now, bigger at least. Wasn't really thinking big, but I was thinking differently. Money started
Mm-hmm.
coming to me, opportunities, a better network. And the other thing I did was I started learning credit because I realized, the banks are screwing me so freaking bad. I'm paying 4 grand in interest. I'm getting sued. I got collections. My credit score is done. It's completely garbage. It's at a 490. And I started learning credit about 3 hours a day. I was sleeping about three or 4 hours every single night for like 6 months, hustling at that sales job, making 15K, but was not focusing on the money. I was focusing on getting my sales skill better and better and better and better. And I was looking at how this company is run. How are they hiring a team? How are they doing the marketing? How are they doing events? How are they getting exposure? I was keeping track of all these things. Uh, and the business I run right now, which does over 7 figures a year, to tell you the truth, I copied 90% of everything that company did to hire a team, to keep database, to keep logistics, uh, marketing, exposure, network. I got from that sales job because I spent a year at it before I quit, just learning how they do everything, keeping close and keeping on good terms with the CEO, the founders, and I'm still on good terms with them. I left the company, but I'm on good terms with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking at their event next week, and that focusing not on the money, having that as a second or third priority, but focusing on the skills, on how a business is run, on all those aspects of the company can be done with sales. Sales is a skill you need, but sales is something that'll grow your network. It'll allow you to make as much money as you want because
Mm-hmm.
it's commission based. It depends on your work ethic. It's not like you work 80 hours a week and you make the same amount of money as you did 30 hours a week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I was focusing on credit. I was learning credit repair, getting my credit from a 490 to like a 540 to a 700. I learned how to get rid of collections. I learned that you do not pay collections. Creditors try to scare you by making phone calls to validate the debt, which they rarely have validated in the beginning. If you guys don't know, if you got collections, if you got debts, and they're trying to collect from you, pick up the phone. You can, that's fine, but do not say, yes, this is my debt. Yes, I'm ready to pay. Do not say that. You simply say, I'm at work right now. I'm trying to make money. Your phone call is distracting me from making money and making ends meet. Whether you're at work or at home, it doesn't matter. Send me any communication in writing. Now you got a paper trail, and a lot of times they got information incorrect. One little misspelling of your name will invalidate the account, and no longer they will be able to collect that debt.
Mm.
Two of the accounts that I had, which totaled $26,000, I wiped just with that method. They had my birthday wrong.
Wow.
26 grand. The other stuff, I spent another 3 months fighting lawsuits. I got dismissed, again, invalidated accounts. Another one I settled, but I didn't settle where the account still remained on my credit report. I settled and the account was removed. My credit went from a 490 to a 750 in about 6 months. In about 6 months. And my scenario 6 months from beginning of getting a sales job and focusing on my credit was this. I was worth $0. I was worth $0. I think I was 23 at the time, and I could not have been happier in my life. I could not have been happier to be worth zero freaking dollars. Be, because because I knew now potential was massive. I had a sales skill. I know more or less how to run a business. I got a game plan. My network is on point. Like I was at Mike Tyson's house month 3 of that sales job because of the connections I was making.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yo, this guy is trying harder than anybody else. We're gonna invite him to this networking party. I come to this party. It's Mike Tyson's old house.
That's cool.
You know, I'm like, damn. My mind
Probably
started working differently.
probably the youngest person in the room too.
Yeah, there were 3 billionaires in that room. I was like, wow. I'm like, damn. 3 months, 3 months changed,
Right.
and I'm like, damn. These people don't know I'm an 82K worth of debt. You know, so I could not have been happier to be worth $0 because my credit is on point, and more importantly, I know how powerful it is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew how powerful it is in a negative way, where if you don't know how to leverage it, you can get screwed really bad. You can get screwed really bad and end up in a position where I was at the time. But I realized how powerful it is in terms of being able to leverage it, not only for travel hacking, getting the free flights, the free hotels, the car rentals, not just that. More importantly, how you can leverage it to create cash flow, make money. And with the connections that I had from that sales job, guys were doing real estate deals, they were doing ecom deals, and I figured out at one point how to go and borrow money from the banks for free, how to go scale my credit lines correctly, and how to borrow a bunch of money for free from the banks. You're in the inner circle, you know how that's done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started doing deals with this free money that I was borrowing from the banks. And free money is just simply no interest. It's not like you take the money, you don't pay it back. It's money you borrow and you pay back without paying any fees or interest. And so about 8 months down the line, I started making more money doing deals, leveraging credit than my sales job. And that was the point where I'm like, all right, it's time. Like it's time. Now I get a skill. Now I know how businesses run. Now I have a game plan. I got a network. Time to run my own shit. I quit the
Mm-hmm.
sales job. I went full time on the credit stuff. I was making a decent amount of money. Um, I was making more than 15K a month at the time, just leveraging credit. And now I started going back to the travel. So now again, I'm traveling. I'm making the same amount of money. It was like 15 to 20K a month, leveraging credit for real estate deals, ecom deals. They were like single family flips at first that I was doing,
Okay.
uh, basically working as a bank. And now I'm taking like 2 trips a month. So I'm like in Thailand again. I'm in Europe. I'm taking snowboarding trips, all while making 15 to 20K a month, leveraging credit. I'm not trading my
Mm-hmm.
time anymore. I'm like, damn, this shit is powerful. I'm enjoying my life at this point. I'm like on a. I remember. I made $5,000 on a deal, just like spending like 3 hours just connecting some people, funding a deal. I spent 3 hours on it, and the money came in while I was sitting on a first class flight to Dubai, and I was just feeling like, damn, like shit changed in a year. Shit
Right.
really changed, you know. And this was about late 2018. 2019 is when I decided I'm going to start teaching people what I'm doing with travel hacking, leveraging credit, getting their credit straight. In 2019, I opened up my program called The Inner Circle. You're part of the
Mm-hmm.
Inner Circle. You've been in it for, I think, over a year now. You joined like
Yep.
probably the second month that I opened it. And I did a test group actually without even putting out any content at first. I said to 7 people at 10X GrowthCon in Miami, that's Grant Cardone's like business event.
Mm-hmm.
I just went up to every single person that I talked to, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. This is what I do. I'm actually starting a test group, uh, and it's gonna be $1,000, and I'm gonna teach you everything I know. If you don't like the content or the information that I put out, I'm not gonna do this business. But if you do, if you guys give me positive feedback on it, I'm gonna start it. I closed $7,000 in about 6 hours at that event for my test group, speaking to about 300 people. So out of 300 people, 7 people agreed to be my
Wow.
test group at $1,000, and I made 7 grand within about 6 hours, and that was more money that I've ever made in my life in 6 hours. So I was doing about over 1,000 an hour at the at that time. And then I put out a bunch of content that week about travel hacking, so how to use points, how to leverage credit, how to do credit repair, like literally just a blueprint of everything that I do, everything that I did, everything that I do. And I reached out to everybody. They had my phone number, and I reached out. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, how do you guys like this stuff? How do you guys like this stuff? And not a single person even like considered taking their money back. They're like, yo, this is, they're like, I would pay 5K. Two of the guys said, I'll pay 5K for what you gave me right now. And that was about a quarter of the content that's in the Inner Circle right now. So I talked about credit repair. I did a section on credit repair, just exactly what I did, getting
Mm-hmm.
from 490 to 750, collections, disputes, negotiations, um, leveraging credit, scaling from 0 to 200K. That's what I put in there on personal credit. And then I talked about how to go and get free flights, leveraging credit, getting free points, not spending a single dollar. And they're like, yo, this is amazing. So second week, I did the first public opening after I already had content in there. The first public opening, 22 people joined. So that was 22,000 in 5 days. And
Wow.
that was my first opening. And I gave everybody. I didn't want, like, what I was seeing with people teaching stuff. They always put out content, but just like a college, if somebody doesn't understand something, then it's like what do you do? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you don't understand them, then whatever. That's what like 99% of courses or teachings, whatever people put out, that's what it is. Um, I always hated that. I'm like, I'm spending my money, but if I don't understand like half of it, you can't assume that every single person is going to understand and be able to apply it to their specific situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm going to give these people support. So for the first year, I actually plan to do this for the first month. I gave everybody a one-to-one phone call, a 1 hour one-to-one phone call. So the first 22 people, I spent the next week about 6 hours a day, one-to-one phone calls. And I posted these all the time. Like I posted the one with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was still doing one-to-one phone calls. And I was spending 6 hours a day doing phone calls with people,
Mm-hmm.
which was crazy. I was just doing energy drinks all freaking day. I'm like drinking energy drink and then do a one-to-one phone call. And my goal was just to get people like on the right track, just leveraging the same information that I did, because nobody told me that you got to go and learn credit. Why was I doing a finance major and not a single piece of it was about credit?
Right.
How's that possible? I got a fucking finance degree from Berkeley or whatever. I don't know about credit. I come out of like I come out with a finance degree and end up in 82K worth of debt because I don't understand how money works.
Wow. Well, that's business in undergrad, right? They'll teach you very basic stuff, but they don't teach you about like real life scenarios.
I don't think they teach you anything. I mean, I asked. So here's why I started doing support. Why part of it was why I really focused on doing one-to-one calls as support. Because I asked my professor when I was doing my finance degree, I'm like, so you teach this to us. I assume you do this yourself, right?
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, I've never done this before. What do you mean? I know how to do it, but I've never done it before. I'm like, is that a fucking joke? I'm like, are you fucking serious? You're telling me how to go and raise capital or some shit like that, and you've never done it before? She's like, yeah, what do you mean? Why would I have to do it? I'm a teacher. Are you fucking kidding me? And that was my realization. I'm like, the education system is broken. It is stupid to go pay somebody to learn something when they do not know or they don't do what they teach.
Hmm.
If you guys agree with that shit, put some likes. Like
It's
if you
booming.
understand that, it's unbelievable. It's
Right.
unbelievable. And so uh and so that's what I focused on. I'm not gonna teach anything that I don't do myself. I got myself at a 490 credit score and 82K worth of debt, so I'm gonna put credit repair in there because I've been through every single part of it. Travel hacking I do on a daily basis. I've been doing it for 6 years. I know how to get millions of points. I know how to get free flights without using credit. I do that shit on a daily basis. If you guys follow my content, like you see, I was living at the Ritz Carlton for 3 months last year. You see, I was
Hmm.
there every single morning showing the free breakfast.
Yep. The coffee.
Six, yeah, exactly. Fake teachers. I mean, it's so many gurus are about that shit too. They go and spend a week on Shopify and come out with a fucking Shopify course, and they don't even do Shopify. If you see everything that I teach in the inner circle, I do that shit continuously on a daily basis, on a daily fucking basis. So just going back with the inner circle, I did one-to-ones for the first month, every single day, like 6 hours, and people were just like the feedback I was getting was incredible. You know, yeah, uni is a scam, 100%. The feedback I was getting was incredible. Like people are starting businesses, they're getting their credit straight, just like I did. Um, One guy like really wanted to travel, like he wanted to take his family on a vacation. They haven't been in like 4 years. They were struggling, and they took their first vacation. They literally sent me some pictures, uh, and they sent me this like super long story. Uh, the feedback was just incredible, and I decided I'm like I'm gonna continue doing these one-to-ones, and I ended up doing them for a year straight. That year in 2019, I did 700, yeah, about 700 one-to-one phone calls.
Wow.
I spent 700 hours with my students in the inner circle, face to face, doing phone calls. Like I don't know anybody who does that. And the only reason is because people continuously just kept sending me positive feedback, how it's like changing their life, how it's changing their business, getting their credit straight. And it just kept motivating me. If
Hmm.
that wasn't the case, I wouldn't have done it for more than a month. um, but that's really what scaled the business, that personal connection, that support. They have the teachings, which are awesome. You can learn a lot, but uh, that personal connection with the business is what makes a difference. Like
Right.
any company that's not focusing on personal connections in any means is not going to succeed. No business that's not focusing on personal connection before anything is not going to succeed. You can have an amazing product, but if you got uh, if you got no personal connection, that it doesn't matter at all.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. People don't want to be talking to robots. They want to go on a website and immediately contact a human. Like when you
Right.
go on a website and you're like, oh great, I'm talking to a fucking robot. Or when you call somebody and then you just go through an automated message. What would you like? Press option 3. Press option 4. Like what the fuck, you know? So I did 700 hours. Obviously, that's not sustainable. I'll probably just I'll probably lose all my hair if I continue doing 700 hours
Those are
a year on phone
one-on-ones,
calls.
Nate, by the way. Not
Huh?
many people. There was a question that said, is it to many people or one-on-ones? Those are one-on-one calls.
Yeah, one-on-one phone calls. Let me unplug my phone before it blows up. It's overheating. Yeah, literally one-on-one phone calls. Um, and by the way, the inner circle is a grand. So when I did the opening at first and I got 22 people, that's $22,000. Uh, And in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, like 22 grand in a week. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I gotta provide, like, I gotta provide some serious value. And that's where the teaching started. That's where the one-to-one phone calls started. I even started doing free meetups and events for anybody, really. Like if you saw all of last year, I did a bunch of free meetups, students and not students. I just wanted to provide as much free value as I possibly could.
Got it.
And I stopped doing these one-to-ones this year because the business scaled a lot. I have probably close to 1,000 students now, and I'm still focusing on support though. I now have a full team that does support anytime people got questions. They simply send a DM, they get a response back within a couple hours, and that's how it's gonna stay.
Mm.
I'm never gonna change to a business model where I'm gonna have just content and no support. I just simply don't believe in that. I just don't think a product is complete until somebody's actually able to learn and get support for their specific situation, especially if they're paying 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 bucks. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if they're paying a couple $100, yeah, okay, man, that's fair. You know, but I haven't told this to many people. My end goal, my kind of like multiple year goal with the inner circle is to get probably 1 or 2% of my students at my level or even higher. I guarantee there's going to be people that are like higher than me at some part of credit, like maybe one part of business credit or one part of travel hacking, um, and have those people as business partners. That's already happened with a couple people, but that's my end goal. I want to get my students to be at the same level or even higher than me, to where I can go and partner with them and make even bigger moves. That's the end goal, long-term goal of the inner circle.
What type of investments now do you do?
I'm focusing all my energy right now on building relationships with banks and scaling my buying power to go into multifamily real estate when it becomes a very good buy. And that's not right now.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate is not affected much right now. It will be though if this crisis continues, and it probably will. Let's say a year or two down the line.
Has quarantine
That's very
affected anything for you?
in terms of real estate or
No,
what?
just in general for like your inner circle.
No. Um, it's a different audience, I guess, right now because now we're focusing more not on the travel hacking, which we will be once this quarantine is lifted, but more so on getting the credit repair, getting the credit straight. Particularly because with coronavirus, what's amazing is that the bureaus and the people you dispute your derogatories or collections or whatever it is with, they are understaffed. But the Fair Credit Reporting Act is still in place, and they still have to abide by it. And a lot of times, they are so understaffed that they cannot even get back to you in 30 days. And legally, if they don't, they got to remove whatever it is you're disputing. So
Mm,
right now with this quarantine, there's never been a better time to get the credit straight.
I
Never.
love that.
It is so much easier right now. I just like I I'm doing one-to-one support via DM, and I'm still getting DMs from my students. They're like, "Yo, we're doing credit repair right now." I hired a company before; they weren't doing shit. Which 99% of the companies doing credit repair, they're not going to do shit. I
Mm.
wasted thousands trying to have them do it. They don't do anything. They just get you on a retainer, and how is that motivating them to do anything faster? That you're paying them month to month. Doesn't make any sense.
What
So
advice would you give like people now, right? If they want to like start to fix their credit or learn about travel hacking or trying to gain a skill, what advice would you give to those people who are listening right now?
Well, it totally depends. Like when I first started, when I had no money, I just started getting curious. I went on YouTube, I went on Google. Of course, there's going to be a lot of misinformation right there. There's going to be a lot of basic stuff that you learn, but it's just good to get an idea of the basics on how to do it, on how to maybe scale the credit, establish the credit a little bit, learn a couple of rules here and there. But what made the biggest difference for me is when I started making a little bit of money, I started simply going to people that know more than me, and I started paying them for phone calls. I started taking courses, I started paying them for phone calls. I just went directly to the source, skipped all the mistakes, skipped all the time wasting, paid money for the information, and then bam, 6 months of learning, 10 times the information was faster than 2 years of learning a fifth of the information, you know? So if
Now, are
somebody
these
like
people like your
yourself,
mentors?
some were my mentors, yeah,
Okay.
you know, if I wanted to learn something specifically about leveraging personal credit for business, I went to a guy that knew specifically that. But everything that I learned, I put in the inner circle. Everything that I freaking learned along the way, I put in the inner circle. So if somebody does want to get into the inner circle, there's a public opening going on right now, which the inner circle is closed usually for about 4 to 6 months at a time. And it has been closed for 4 months, but the public opening started last week, and it's closing down at the end of this week. So if somebody does want to get into the inner circle, all they got to do is send me a DM. I'll send them a breakdown, all the details, any questions, whatever it is. But you don't need to initially spend money on doing anything. Get curious, like just literally get curious. Go start Googling how to remove collections. You're gonna get a bunch of nonsense information, of course, but you'll get an idea of what's wrong and what's potentially right, and you'll start implementing and executing yourself, just like you will establishing your credit lines. You will make mistakes, but you'll know what kind of mistakes not to make. Uh, but again, like giving value in exchange for value is the best way to do it. Whether it's your time or your energy or money, that's the way to do it. I'm learning real estate right now. I'm like, yes, I'm Googling a bunch of stuff, but I know I'm going to get a bunch of misinformation. Instead, I'm going to go to a person that's been doing it for 10 years. I'm going to pay him money. I'm going to pay him money to go shadow him to get information. I will not expect by any means for him to give me some sort of free information that he spent his time, energy, money
Mm-hmm.
on getting. I'm going to give him value in exchange for his valuable information to use for myself. Because I know it's going to make me money. I know it's going to save me time. It's going to save me money. It's going to save me from making mistakes. That's the way to do it. But the most important part is getting curious and just starting to do research on your own without having to spend money. You don't have to do it. That's why for those people that are in a bad situation financially, I don't want your money. I go and put out free content, free value, free Q&As every single week on my Instagram every single week because I know I was in that situation before and I couldn't find anybody to learn from really.
Mm-hmm.
If I had somebody like myself to learn from, I would get out of my situation way faster just learning from the free content that they're putting out. And that's why I do it.
So do you have a lot of people around you now that are doing pretty much the same thing that you're doing? Like, what type of shift did you have to make? Because before you said, right, in your when you were in debt, you were around people, but they were keeping you in that scenario, right? So what type of people are you around now that are helping you to keep you uplifted or even to push further?
No, everybody around me is their goals are just their goals are just like, how do I make 10 million this year? How do I go and connect with a person that's gonna make your business better? You made 10 grand today? Awesome, bro. Good job. Awesome. Awesome. How do we make that 20K? You know? And
Mm-hmm.
we reciprocate exactly like that. We got a, we got a house right now in LA. It's a pretty big mansion. And it's basically like a boiler room. There's 4 entrepreneurs in there just hustling every single day. The entire year that we've been in there, not a single day has been taken off. There's not a single day where people just chilled and did nothing. Every single day there's meetings, there's phone calls, there's marketing plans, there's podcasts going on. That's the entire environment that I have around me. And you got to be very careful with the people that you bring around you because 99% of the people that will come around you, they will not help you succeed. In fact, they will be a weight on whatever it is that you're trying to do if you yourself have big goals, aspirations. Family is one thing that a lot of people struggle with because family, like it's kind of hard to distance yourself from family because there's going to be hard feelings no matter what. But you got to say, hey, look, like I got to do my own thing. I'm not I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. I'm just trying to focus on myself. And as selfish as that sounds, uh, it requires me to be by myself, focus on one thing, and I can't focus on anything else until I reach that goal. Until I reach that goal, just let me do my thing, please. Give me that respect, and then we'll come back and I'll help you out, whatever it is. But right now, I gotta focus on me. I gotta focus on this. Let me be. And for a lot of people, that just means you gotta distance yourself. You
Mm.
gotta go distance yourself. You gotta go move somewhere else. I moved to San Francisco for that reason, because everybody where I grew up in OC, uh, I was not able to distance myself living in the same city. I went to San Francisco without knowing anybody. That was a good start. But then I still came to a position where I got those same people around me, similar people, But then again, I just got serious and got that sales job, and there was no opportunity for me to even go hang out with somebody. I was doing just one thing. That's it. And by the way, it is so important to go do one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called The One Thing. It's a very good read. I forgot who it's by, but it's called The One Thing.
Okay.
I read that, and that was at the time where I was getting my sales job, and I realized there's no way you can do two things at a time and make it good. You cannot do two or three or four things at a time and make them great or amazing. Because if somebody is doing that one thing and you're doing two things at one time, your focus is like this,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna win and they're gonna crush you.
Is the one
So,
going down the book line, capital
what do you mean?
O-N-E for
Yes,
one? Oh, okay. It's Gary
I think it's
Keller.
I think it's a yellow cover.
Okay, I think it's Gary Keller. I think, yeah, Gary Keller.
Yeah, it's like a yellow orange color.
Got it. And so
Yeah.
another thing, I know we have only 10 minutes left, but like what shifted mentally for you, right? I think a lot of people think like, okay, yes, I need to learn all these skills, right? But I think a lot of things start with self and having the courage, the discipline, the obedience to say you can do it. And like what type of mental shift happened for you back when you were in debt to now, to even to where you're like trying to scale?
When 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 you're in debt, when you have all these things that you're focusing on that are just not moving you forward, it's impossible to think big or be creative, especially when you got people around you that are not thinking big or being creative. But at the same time, you yourself not thinking big or creative or being in a shitty situation, you can't even get yourself around those kind of people, unless you really put an effort to it. And for me, my situation got so bad where it was a fight or flight situation. So like
Mm-hmm.
it got so bad that it had to, I was forced to shift and go get myself into a better environment. For a lot of people, it's the same way. They got to go through something very traumatic to make a change. That's how it is, unfortunately. And I'm trying to help people so they don't have to get into that situation to make that shift. But I would say thinking big and thinking creative and thinking the way that I think right now or successful people think is a luxury. Is a luxury. Because you cannot be successful and think big and make big moves if your brain is not working correctly. I think like it's hard to say what the exact things are that made that are different in my mind. It's quite hard. Like I can say right now, I can think big and creative right
Mm-hmm.
now, but that's not the point. That'll come once you get your environment on point. You start focusing on one thing instead of focusing on the money. You focus on a skill. Instead of thinking how can you bring more value to yourself, think about how you can bring more value to other people. Everybody thinks completely opposite. They think, how do I go get everything to me? Instead, think, how do I solve other people's problems? How do I bring them value?
Mm-hmm.
I started closing deals because I just started bringing value to people. My inner circle was so successful because every single day before I even took anybody's money, I was just doing free value nonstop. I haven't skipped I haven't skipped over 800 days where I didn't post some value on Instagram. 800 days. Not a single day where I didn't have a story with some sort of value for free for people to go and follow. Um, I think we're gonna get cut off in like 6 minutes, but let's
Yep.
answer some questions. So
So,
if you guys got any questions, please drop it all, and either of us will.
uh-oh, got paused. See if Jan gets pop back in here. And let me know if you guys can hear us too. How to win friends and influence people is read. Let me see. How long does it take to go from no credit to leverage other people's money? How many incomes do you have? I think there was one too, right? At the beginning, I said, is travel hacking done in India? And so that's one that Jan has to do. But I think travel hacking is done everywhere, but I think the one that Jan does is specifically within the US. I'm sure his phone did blow up. It's probably too hot out there on the West Coast. That's why they need to be in Chicago. Um, and then let me see, how many incomes does he have? I'm not sure how many incomes Jan has. I'm sure he has the inner circle. He has people doing credit with him in real estate. I'm sure it has to be at least more than three or four. But I think a good way to have a nice income stream is at least, I guess, focus on the ones that you know about, right? And focus on those first. Let me see if I can pop him back in real quick. Boom. They said your phone blew up, man.
It's hot in LA. It's like 90
Uh-oh.
degrees today.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
Oh, snap. So the questions we got are how many incomes do you have?
How many incomes do I have? I have probably about three or four right now. I'm taking out two of them to go and focus everything on multifamily real estate.
Okay. And so somebody asked, is travel hacking done in India?
I got a lot of Indian followers for some reason. Um, I've got students in India, but the reality is like the credit system in India, it's a lot different. But the people that are my students in India, they travel outside of India, so there's an entire world of travel hacking that does not have to do with credit at all. Like the free flights, the free hotels, or getting about 70% off hotels is done without credit, as you know. So I've got students in about 15 countries right now. And credit is actually very similar in a lot of countries like Canada or UK,
Hmm.
Australia. So that's why I got students over there. But travel hacking can be done in all those countries, but it can be done in every country as well if you're not going to be using credit, which is very doable.
And then how long does it take to go from no credit to leveraging other people's money?
You're leveraging other people's money immediately once you get a credit card. But the reality is, here's a game plan for everybody to understand. You want to establish and scale your personal credit first before you do anything, because you
Yep.
can use that to go and scale business credit. On business
Yep.
credit, utilization is not going to be showing up on your personal credit. If you go and screw up a business account, it's not going to affect your personal credit. The credit lines on the business side are going to be much higher, so you can leverage those to go pick up real estate, to go start a business. It's not going to screw your personal credit. At the
Hmm.
same time, you can go start multiple business credit profiles and have multiple credit profiles. You can go and leverage for ecom. You can go and leverage for real estate. For example, I got about $500,000 in available credit on my personal side, and that took about 3 years to scale. Okay, just learning by myself, and towards the end, start paying people to understand how to do it quickly. But on the business side, I've scaled to multiple millions, leveraging my personal credit in 6 months.
Hmm.
So business credit is a lot faster to scale when you've already established and scaled your personal credit.
Got it. And then we got another question that said, Jan, you do Amazon.
I do a little bit of Amazon. I do a little bit of Amazon. More,
It's,
I got people running my Amazon stuff.
it's definitely a great income source. So, toward the end, one thing I wanted to ask is there anybody in your inner circle that's being great, or people that are like, who's around you that's pretty much doing very well right now that you want to shout out, who's giving you like inspiration?
I like my inner circle. Not my program, but the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
The guys at the house, I mean, they're killing it. My boy Mo, Human, another one of my friends, Omar. The kid's 20 years old, doing like a couple 100,000 a month sometimes in ecom. You know, people around me. Like I always say, go hang out with people that are making 100,000, 150,000 a month. Even if you're making 20,000 a month, you'll probably start getting closer to 100,000 a month than zero a month.
Right.
Whereas if you go and spend time with people that are working at Starbucks, you're probably going to start making a lot less than 20K. And nothing against working at Starbucks or a minimum wage job. That's where
Right.
you are right now. You just got to make bigger moves to get out of that situation.
Well, I know we only got like a minute or so left, and I know Jan, you said you do some Q&A. So if people want to get in touch with you, they can go to your page, they can DM you, and they can ask more questions, right?
Like me, right? With the with my Instagram handle. I'll be on DMs later today. If you guys want to shoot me some questions, if you guys want to ask about the inner circle, whatever it is, if I can help you in any way, shoot me a DM.
I love it. So thank you, Jan, so much for coming on the live, for blessing people, talking about your story, talking about credit, travel hacking, how to generate cash flow. And yeah, I really appreciate you. I know you have definitely an inspiring story. So looking forward to see what else you got in the future.
Awesome. One of my students says, getting into the inner circle program has provided me so much value. Business credit on the way to the millions like you. Awesome.
Love
We
it.
got like there are students just killing it, like absolutely killing it. Hope you guys got
Awesome. Oh
value
yeah, then
from
you've
this
got
call.
comments going on.
Yeah. Hope you guys got value from the call. Thank you for having me on. It was a good hour. Very,
Of
very valuable
course.
hour, I think.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Thank you guys
All
for
right.
joining.
All right.
All right, bye
Peace.
bye.